Welcome back, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. I want to go over a few things before we jump into our lesson today. So hopefully most of all of you have heard about the showcase decision. There will not be a showcase at the end of this month. It was scheduled for April 30th. Unfortunately, we cannot have an in-person showcase due to the current situation that our world is going through right now. So here's what we're going to do. If we can have an in-person showcase in May, we will be performing monologues. So each of you that have asked me for a monologue, or your adult has sent me something saying, yeah, they would like to do a monologue, you should have already received those. If you have not, please let me know right away so I can get those to you. Let's talk about what your monologues, let's go over a few notes, then we'll talk about what your monologues are and how this is going to work. So the next few lessons are going to be how to perform the monologues that I've given you. So that's why it's super important, if you haven't received one yet, to let me know right away. Otherwise, it's not going to do you much good to watch these lessons. So as we go through the lesson today and the rest of the lessons, I'm going to ask you several times to pause the video, write things down, and come back to it. So make sure you have the monologue that I have assigned you, a pen or pencil, maybe a highlighter, and a piece of notebook paper just in case you want to take notes. Okay, so let's talk about monologues. So your monologues are all written at different parts of your play. Some of you have monologues that are written before your play starts. So Maya, you have an Anastasia monologue that is she's talking to Drusilla before they even get to the Villains Club. Some of you have monologues that take place at the beginning of the play. So you're already in the play. This is some of your lines that you have already. Some of you have monologues that take place in the middle of the play, and some of you have monologues that take place at the end. So what I will do is, if we cannot have an in-person showcase in May, I will have you all record videos of your monologues, and I'll let you know when you're supposed to do that, so don't do it today. And then you will send me those videos, and I will put them together into one big video showcase. It's going to be really cool, and it will give our audience an idea of what your plays were about. Okay, so let's talk about monologues. First of all, why do we need monologues? Why do we use them? So we've talked about, when we did our auditions, that some auditions that you will go to will require a monologue. So this is usually something that's from a play that's already been written, so you can use the monologues that we're doing here. Sometimes they'll ask you to pick a monologue from a certain show. So we do monologues because this is one of the main ways that people audition you in community theaters. So here's what we're going to do when we are studying a monologue. So today we're going to cover the first steps of a monologue. So your director is giving you a monologue. Maybe your acting coach is giving you a monologue, and they say, all right, go ahead and study and perform this. And maybe you're like, I've never done a monologue before. What am I supposed to do? So I'm going to give you 3 first steps to do when studying a monologue. The first step is you are going to read the monologue, and with a pen, pencil, or highlighter, you're going to mark any unfamiliar words and stage directions. So if your character uses a big word and you're like, I have no idea what this word means, now's the time to circle that word and you're going to come back to it later. Any stage directions, all of you should have at least one stage direction in your monologue. So stage directions, again, are going to be in parentheses. So if your monologue says pause, that doesn't mean you're going to say the word pause. It just means that your character is thinking, maybe they're listening to somebody, maybe they're picking something up. So that's a stage direction that you're going to want to highlight or circle, or however you notate your monologues, whatever works best for you. Okay. So first step is reading through, marking any unfamiliar words and stage directions. Before we move to step 2, if you marked unfamiliar words, you're going to look those up, ask your adult, type it into Google, see what those mean. If you can't find an answer to it, let me know and I will help you. Okay, so step 2, you're going to read your monologue out loud. So you're going to read it out loud. This step should be repeated several times. You should be reading your monologue out loud several times each day. And this helps you get a feel for how this character speaks. So as you're reading this out loud, you're going to maybe write off to the side or on a separate piece of paper How does my character talk? Are there words that they use over and over? I also want you to mark down and write off to the side, maybe, or on a separate piece of paper, who is your character talking to? So let's take the club assistant. So Callie, let's take your character. In your monologue, she talks to the club director, and she also talks to Goldilocks. So that's something you would mark out to the side. Who am I talking to? And you're also going to mark, where are these people that you're talking to? So if my character is standing up right here, and the character they're talking to is over this way, when I say my monologue, when I say my lines to them, I'm not going to look straight out at the audience. I'm going to look over here at them because that's who I'm talking to. Something that you're going to want to pay attention to as well is how tall do you think this person is? So if you are talking to Goldilocks over here, and Goldilocks is probably not down over here unless she's sitting on the floor for some reason, she's probably maybe at eye level with you. So you're going to make sure that you're looking at the height where Goldilocks is. So that goes to if your character is standing and they're looking at someone sitting. You don't want to look up unless they're a giant, which I don't think any of these characters are. So making sure for your second step, you're reading aloud, thinking, who is my character talking to? Where are they? Where is this character? I think a couple of you are talking to yourself at one point. So if your character is talking to themselves, that's an okay time to look at the audience. You can also look down like you're concentrating. You can look up when they're talking to themselves. That's kind of up to you where you're looking. I think a few of you have a monologue where you're talking to the audience, and it says to audience, so that's a point where you can look out to everyone else and look at the camera. Okay, so step 2 is reading aloud, figuring out who is my character talking to and where are they. Step number 3, you're going to decide if your character is sitting, standing, laying on the floor, what makes sense based on the information you're given in your monologue. So I'm going to refer to this as finding levels. So in the upcoming lessons, when I say find a different level, that's what I mean. So find a way if you're sitting, if you're standing, if you're on the ground, if you're squatting on the ground, whatever different level that you think your character is doing. If your character is a queen, she's probably not going to sit on the floor. If your character is, if your character is the wolf, he's probably not going to stand on a chair. So make sure that you are thinking through what your character would do, what makes sense for your character. And there may be a point in the upcoming lessons I ask you to make a choice that doesn't seem to fit your character just for fun. But that's not today. So your homework for today is not anything you have to send to me, although I really appreciate every one of you that have sent in your goat sheet, your beats and units. Excellent job on those. I want to give a couple of shout outs. Adriana, your beats and units were perfect. They were very well done. Thank you so much for working hard on that and sending it to me. Xavier, your goat sheet was amazing. I was very impressed how detailed you were in each of the answers. And if I didn't mention you, it's not because you did a horrible job. I just want to give a few shout outs. Okay, so back to your homework for this week. Do all 3 of those steps. So reading and marking unfamiliar words and stage directions. Read aloud and figure out who you're talking to, where they are. And 3rd step, decide your level, sitting, standing, laying on the floor, squatting, sitting on a chair. Up to you based on what your character does. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions. If you have not received a monologue, make sure you get back to me. I also sent out something where you can sign up for one-on-one virtual coaching. I noticed several of you have already signed up for slots. So we're going to be I will be offering free one-on-one virtual coaching. It will probably take 15 minutes to a half hour, depending on what you want to do. I will be coaching you through your monologue, so I'll have you do these 3 steps to me. I'll have you read through your monologue. We'll go through some additional steps together, and it's going to be a good time. So make sure you sign up for a slot. If you need a time but it's not on there and you can't do any of the times that are there, let me know and I will try to add some other slots to it. Okay, I'm very proud of all of you, so keep up the hard work and I'll see you soon.